world's literature. Since literature is known today in every part of the world, have you ever wondered how those literary pieces were created? Have you ever asked yourself, where did literature originate? That is what we're going to discuss today, the history of literature. Before we discuss further, let us first define the word literature. What do you think is the meaning of the word literature? Correct. Literature came from the Latin word litera, which means acquaintance with words. So basically, when we say literature, it is the reflection of humans' experiences and culture, which is expressed in a creative way. Now, let us discuss the history of literature. Literature started in 4 major places before it flourished throughout the world. Those 4 places are Mesopotamia. Now, what do you think is the second place? Correct, it's Egypt. Third, we have Greece, and the 4th one is Rome. Let's start with Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is also called as the cradle of civilization. Why do you think is it called as the cradle of civilization? Correct, because it is the place where lots of developments and advancements in history happened, and one of those is the beginning of literature. Literature originated in Mesopotamia, specifically in Sumer, city of Uruk. During this modern day, Mesopotamia is known as the place where Iraq, some parts of Iran, Syria, and Turkey are located. Now, the question is, how did literature start in Mesopotamia? It is because of their religious beliefs. Sumerians believed that the purpose of their lives is to serve and worship their gods and goddesses. And that is how literature started in Mesopotamia. In order for them to fulfill their purpose in life, they make sure that they give praise to their gods every day. They do it through writing hymns and songs for their god, and those are considered as the earliest forms of literature. Another known example of Mesopotamian literature is the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is about the adventure of Uruk's king named Gilgamesh and his friend Enkidu searching for the secret of immortality. It also includes the story of a great flood, very similar to the story of Noah in the Bible. This Sumerian legend, written in cuneiform, is considered as the oldest epic literature in the world. Mesopotamia is located in the Fertile Crescent. It is a place consists of different countries. Now, while looking at the picture on the screen, aside from Mesopotamia, what country do you also see that is quite familiar to you? Right, there is Egypt. Mesopotamia and Egypt are both located in Fertile Crescent. Since Egyptians are also fond of worshiping their pharaohs, they adapted the Mesopotamians' way of worshiping their gods. Egyptians also started writing praise and hymns for their pharaohs and kings, and even wrote biographies in clay tablets for them, which turned into writing pyramid texts that shows the king's reign and his successful journey to the afterlife. And those pyramid texts can also be seen during these days and already became huge parts of the Egyptian literature. And that is how the idea of literature reached Egypt from Mesopotamia. And again, what's the reason? Correct, because they are both located at the Fertile Crescent and are both devoted in worshiping their gods and pharaohs. Now, I have mentioned earlier that Mesopotamia and Egypt are both located in the Fertile Crescent. Aside from that, there is also a place called Coast of Levant, which is simply the territory from Egypt to Greece. When we say coast, what do you think does it mean? That's right. Coast is the land near the sea. So who do you think occupy the coast of Levant? Yes, they are the Phoenicians. Phoenicians are known as the greatest maritime traders of all time. They ought to travel by sea in order to trade in different places. And since Phoenicians also traded with the Egyptians for a long time, they have learned about literature, then eventually brought it to Greece while trading with the Greeks. In that sense, Greeks also learned about literature and started writing different kinds of literary pieces. Some of the most famous Greek literary pieces are the Iliad and the Odyssey. Iliad is an epic poem written by the ancient Greek poet Homer, which recounts some of the significant events of the final weeks of the Trojan War. And the Odyssey is also an epic poem written by Homer about the story of Odysseus, king of Ithaca, who wandered for 10 years trying to get home after the Trojan War. Then, after some time, the Greeks and the Romans decided to build trading posts. Based on the pictures on the screen, what do you think are trading posts? That's right. When we say trading posts, these are the stores established for trading and obtaining local products. And obviously, when you trade, you talk to each other. You exchange ideas about different topics. In that way, the Greeks somehow passed the idea of literature to the Romans. And another notable event that caused the literature to flourish in Rome is the Roman-Greek War. During that time, Rome got the victory and was able to capture Livius Andronicus, a Greek poet and dramatist. They sent him into prison in Rome. While he was imprisoned, he was asked to make Latin versions of the famous Greek literary pieces. Because of it, Romans were able to read and understand those literary pieces, understood the idea behind literature, then later on started to write their own literary piece. One of the most famous Roman literary pieces is the Aeneid, which tells the story about a Trojan hero named Aeneas, who wandered for years after the fall of Troy and eventually became the ancestor of the Roman nation. Since then, literature continued to flourish from place to place until it became known in every part of the world.